Good afternoon and welcome along to the Kerry Garden Show. Alan Finn back with you here again on Radio Kerry in association with Boyles of Killorglin. And I'm joined as always by my gardening experts, Trish and Jer. How are you doing?
Welcome, Alan. How are you keeping?
Not too bad now, and yourselves?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good stuff, good stuff. Right, as we said last week, busy time of the year. We've got another busy show. Jer, we're going to start with lawns because the mowers have been out. They've been trying to cut and get away some of the old lawns and stuff like that. So
I don't think there's any lawns at the moment. I think they're just all moss, Alan. It's accepted.
Yeah. But trust me, there has been people who've tried. I know, I can hear the lawnmowers going off at the weekend all the time. So
yeah,
what are the important
as you
things?
said about the lawnmowers there just starting out, make sure when you are starting your lawnmowers and you're starting into your cut that you're not cutting too low.
Too low.
Start at the higher setting and work down.
Yeah.
Especially if you have the moss. If you start at the higher setting, the grass will come above the moss, and the moss should hopefully start dying away underneath. So we've several products that will sort out the dreaded moss.
The dreaded moss, true.
We have organic products, and then we have the sulphate of irons. So we'll start off with the Moss Master. It's a gift of a product.
Okay.
There's no raking, there's no hard work. There's no manual labour.
Oh, this sounds good. This sounds good, Jer. A lot of our listeners are going to like this.
This product, it covers 400 square metres. So the trick is with it, cut the lawn at the highest setting before you put this out. It only works at 8 degrees plus. So nighttime temperatures have to be 8 degrees plus. So you're looking at mid-March to end of March to get this product out.
Okay.
What it does is there's microorganisms in it. They start eating up the moss. It browns off, starts to decay, and it starts to feed the soil as well. There is nitrogen in it as well, so it'll green up any bit of grass that is in the lawn.
That's there, yeah.
And there's no raking then involved afterwards. Doesn't blacken, just leave the product do its job. And for about 2 weeks to a month afterwards, keep cutting at the highest setting. And then from mid-April onwards, you can start reducing the setting down, and you should have a nice lush lawn for the
And
year ahead.
is that giving time to allow the product to work against the moss, or is that literally just to let the grass kind of...
It's to leave the product work.
Okay.
Because these microorganisms, you just have to you have to leave them settle in the ground and literally just leave them do their work. With the other products then, you'll see a difference overnight, but you have to go out and get a scarf or you have to go out and rake the lawn after use. Okay. So with the Miracle Grow and the Landscape Pro here, they're a 4-in-1. They're a feed, they're a weed killer, and they're a moss killer.
They're very popular, Jer.
They're very popular, but again, it's they're just a little bit of work after with the moss in the raking out.
Okay.
With the Moss Master and all these products as well, if you have a lot of moss in the lawn, just make sure to put out a little bit of grass seed, maybe about 4 to 6 weeks afterwards. That'll allow the grass just to germinate quicker, and again, just to have that nice green lush lawn for the summer ahead.
Another thing, Jer, and something you mentioned a lot last year, forking,
aeration,
aerating the soil. That's an important thing as well.
It is vital,
especially after all the rain.
Again, it'll improve the drainage in your soil, and it'll get air into that root as well. Again, it'll green up your lawn. With the forking, you probably would have to do it every foot. So that can be a little bit painstaking. You can get aerators and little gadgets as well that will speed up the process.
Yeah.
But again, if your soil is wet, leave all these products until it dries up.
Because realistically, you're possibly doing more damage.
You are, because the way the lawns are at the moment, they're so wet. If you get in with, let's say, any machinery or your ride-on, you are compacting the soil, so it's doing more damage than good. The other product we have as well is sulphate of iron. Again, that can go out. You can get that out now. What that does is blackens everything, and it blackens overnight. Again, you'd have to scarify after that as well. Trick with the sulphate of iron, if you are putting it out, especially with a spreader, or if you're putting it out in liquid, is to make sure it doesn't get on any footpaths, tarmac, or patios, because it will stain, and it's a devil to get rid of.
Yeah. Okay. There's one other product here as well, Jer.
So again, that's another weed killer.
That's just the lawn weed killer.
Yeah. But again, you can't put that out if there's a risk of frost.
Okay.
So again, you want a dry day to put it out. You want 3 to 4 hours for it to dry in afterwards. Again, it's put out at about 8.5 mils per litre of water, and it's mixed with your knapsack. You can't put it out in a watering can. It has to go into the knapsack. and that'll get rid of all your broadleaves. So your docks, your dandelions, daisies, buttercups, and it can work against rushes. But no, it's another good product.
Rushes.
It's a good product.
As you said, Jer, we could probably do a whole show on lawns, and we will definitely come back to it because we'll also be, covering over the next coming weeks different
again,
things
and
to
we'd
kind
have
of look
different
after
products coming in as well. So we'd have the spring summer feeds that'll green up your lawn later on, and we'll go through reseeding lawns as well come the end of March into April.
Okay, great. So we have a couple of plants and flowers here, Trish. So what are we gonna start and talk with this week?
We have, if anybody's got rockeries now, or the ones small, nice little compact little alpine shrubs, we have a lovely little selection here that would be flowering this time of the year. The one you've picked up now is Obretia. Now Obretia is fabulous. It's green all year round, and it goes into a nice little clump. You can get them in the whites, you can get them in the purples, or that's a lovely new one now. It's kind of purple white tone to it.
A light purple,
yeah,
but you
lilac,
can see here
but you can see by the colours, yeah.
There's a lot of darker, richer
So again
colours,
now, when you're planting them, it has to be a well-drained soil. They prefer the sunshine. So if you've got soil that's kind of heavy, add in a good bit of grit or a bit of sand. And then even on the top surface of the soil, put a grit on it so the actual plant isn't sitting on the soil or rotting.
Okay.
But they're good evergreens. You can even stick them into stones in the wall if you've got stones and you've got spaces in between the stones, and they'll grow out of it. Like that one there now in your hand, the campanula. Even I had a lady in yesterday, she was saying, the one with the blue flower, she says, it comes down the wall, what is it? And like everybody will go for that plant.
Yeah.
It's really, really tough as well.
Well, that's what I mean, and in fact it'll grow in walls and stuff like that. Would be good, is it?
Yeah, or even if you had the path that's here even and you had a little bit of soil out of it, it'll actually just spread along the path.
Yeah.
And it's fabulous, and that'll flower then about April, May, and it's evergreen then as well, so it keeps its greenery all year round.
Lovely, very nice.
And as you say, that's another Obretia then, would be similar to the first one we were looking at.
Lovely, yeah.
Again, clump forming as well.
Different colours. Now we've also got some shrubs here as well. What is this? She's a bit prickly.
A bit prickly is right. That one now is for spring flowering. It's actually very bright yellowy orange, I suppose you'd call it, and it's absolutely fabulous colour. You'd see it for a mile away. And it's really, really thorny as well. So if you wanted to put it in a spot or you didn't want someone jumping over a fence or something like that, it'd be good.
Windowsills.
Yeah.
Stop people getting into the house.
Yes, exactly. But it's a good evergreen as well. Very, very tough. Can be grown outside the seaside. Can be grown anywhere really. But again, not too wet of a soil. Likes a kind of a well-drained soil.
And flowering then, Trish?
Flowering, that'll be flowering soon now in the next couple of weeks. So it's the kind of, not one of the first shrubs but in amongst one of the first shrubs of spring that would be flowering. And I suppose always with spring, it's like the daffodils and things, the yellows, they're nice in the spring and they're nice and fresh looking then as well.
And we have some yellows and purples down
That's
here
right.
as well.
Again now, like last week we were on with the dianthus and the primroses. We also have the pansies and the violas.
Oh sure, who wouldn't love the pansies?
The pansies are the bigger flowering one and the violas then are small, and like they're really, really hardy. They can be planted into the ground. You could do up window boxes, you could do up hanging baskets, the pots outside the door, for gravesides. Very, very hardy, and they'll flower for ages then as well.
And I am always amazed when you say that they're hardy, because they seem like such a delicate flower.
Delicate, they look like fabulous, as you say, lovely and delicate, but really, really hardy, so it's good then as well.
Now we also have some kind of daffodils and something there, Jer.
So we've a couple of different bulbs. So with bulbs, they're usually planted August through to October. This time of the year we do have them potted as well, as pot fillers, or if you want to just fill in a few blanks that where the bulbs didn't come through during the year. You just asked there a while ago, the listeners that were wondering why their daffodils weren't growing this year.
We did have a few people inquiring. Yeah,
they're flourishing in a lot of areas where they're maybe on banks or in well-drained soil. If they were sitting in wet water for most of the winter, they're probably after rotting inside in the soil.
Okay.
So just a trick when you are planting with bulbs, if you know they are in a wet spot, is to maybe add grit to to the soil just to improve the
Or kind
drainage.
of raise it on a little bit, kind of a raised
You can
base,
raise it up,
maybe.
and anything like that. But just make sure with bulbs that they're planted in well drained areas.
Okay.
So we have the tulips, and we have the daffodils, and we've crocuses in stock as well.
love
So there's plenty of colour in the bulbs.
I always love seeing crocuses every year.
They
There's
are,
something
they're
about
they're
it.
so colourful
It
and
reminds me as well.
delicate
It
looking
must be of growing up and stuff like that.
It's
you
the
know,
first
just
sign of
going out.
spring.
It is.
It's
beautiful.
No, they're nice. And we have some lovely miniature daffodils as well. These are the tete-a-tetes. And we have all these in pots
I
as well at
remember
the
when we
moment.
were talking about the bag of them and planting loads of them together and
Yes,
how they all come
yeah.
up. Trish,
But I suppose it's handy because, as Jer's saying, them bulbs can be got in September, October, but sometimes we forget these things, we forget to plant them, and now they're in flower and you're going, oh God, I forgot to plant them. But you can buy them in pots then as well.
Okay.
As Jer says, fill them into the spots.
Great.
Yeah, so we have a lovely flowering cherry in at the moment. It's a Japanese flowering cherry.
I'm not even going to try and pronounce that.
It's
Ger.
Kojo no Moi. So yeah,
You did a
it's
better job of it than I did.
It's a lovely one, and it's just coming into bud now. It's coming in a nice little white. You can get them in pinks as well. White is what we have in stock at the moment. But they're a lovely plant if you have a small garden. They're nice to put in a pot outside the front door, or they're nice to just put into the garden just to have that little bit of spring colour.
Seems to be all flower, no leaf at the moment, is it?
Yeah, no, this is a flower before the leaf could come on it. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's a nice one. It's a nice little addition to the garden. If you've any blank spot, it'll only grow to about 3 to 4 feet high.
Now, Trish, we've got some lovely ones down here along the front as well.
We've got a beautiful one here now. It's a Helleborus. Now, usually the Helleborus, you'd get them in the white, or the Christmas rose is another name for it. But this colour is absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
It's really, really nice.
Really
Again, now, that flowers obviously this time of the year and it'll flower for another couple of weeks and has been flowering for the past month. It's low growing, won't grow to about this height. But like, it says it itself, really. The flower
it is,
isn't it?
yeah,
It's
no, it's stunning,
absolutely
beautiful.
fabulous. Again, now you can kind of put it in a moist area, but not sitting in wet or anything like that.
They're very
it can
big
grow in
leaves as
pots,
well, doesn't
big,
it?
huge
Yeah,
leaves on it.
yeah.
I mean, even when the flowers die off it, the plant itself is fabulous for the rest of the year because of the finger leaves on it. So it's
Yeah.
actually quite nice. You can even see it there, how big they are. But there's also another beautiful one here.
Now, you were saying beforehand that this is one we've talked about quite a lot.
Yes, before Christmas now, that's just covered in red buds, and it's a lovely Christmas plant to have. A lot of people plant it in pots around their door and everything. But my favourite time is this time of the year because the flowers start to open and the fragrance of that, Alan, is
So it's a
absolutely-
skimmia?
It's a skimmia.
Skimmia.
Absolutely fabulous, the fragrance of it. So again, plant it somewhere where you're walking by regularly, maybe near the patio where you're sitting down or at your front door. But again, now that likes a peaty soil, no lime in the soil. So if you were planting it, plant it with an ericaceous compost.
And, Ger, this is the one that had red berries at Christmas. Or kind of.
Another variety of it,
Another-
yeah. It would have been the
yeah.
obsession. Would have been the same thing. Would have had the flower, but it would have had the berries as well included. Two plants cultivated into one.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
no, it is a beautiful plant.
Fantastic.
The other one at the moment that we have loads of in there, plenty of colour, is the winter spring headers.
Okay.
So we've loads of them in stock at the moment. Again, they're good for pot fillers, or if you want to do a header bed, there's a good range of them there. I was actually just watering them yesterday, and I was putting the hose over the header, and you should have seen all the honeybees that came out of
Oh,
it.
go away.
There must have been about 50 to 60 honeybees inside it. So if you're into your biodiversity and you want to bring bees to the garden, this is a good one.
Especially
to
if we're always talking about getting rid of dandelions and all that sort of stuff. It's
Yeah,
good to have that.
that's it, yeah.
So, guys, we'll finish up with our plant of the week,
Yes.
flower of the week. What am I going to call this one, Trish?
It's actually a camellia.
A camellia.
Now, the one you have in your hand is red, and the one on the ground then is a lovely white one, or with a yellow centre. They're a fabulous plant. They're invaluable. Again, now flowering springtime. The big, huge rose. If you look at the white one down below now, big, huge rose-like flowers on it. Lovely, shiny, evergreen leaf on it as well. Likes the peaty soil, so no lime in the soil. Can be grown in pots or into the ground. The eventual height of them would be about 6 feet high by about 3-4 feet wide.
Okay, so you need to put them. They're a good spot.
Yeah,
Maybe
and the thing
against
is
a
as
wall
well-
that would obviously get a lot of sun. It needs a bit of sun.
It doesn't like full sun in the morning.
Okay.
Because it's flowering this time of the year. If you have get frost the night before and then the sun comes on it in the morning, it'll actually scorch the buds and the flowers.
Okay,
So try
right.
and have it in a shady spot in the morning and sunlight in the afternoon to be ideal for it.
Okay, great, super. All right, guys, that is brilliant. So much to cover. Such a busy time of the year, and you're Everyone's out in the garden keeping as busy as. So it's great. We'll have lots more stuff to kind of talk about over the coming weeks, guys.
We will, yeah.
No, and like at the moment, if people want to get in contact with us, our email is gardencentre@boyleshardware.ie. We have a full range of stock at the moment, so if you're thinking that we can't do anything in the garden at the moment, just get in contact. We'll keep you busy.
Guys, thanks a million. Great to see you again, and plenty to keep us all busy and all the gardeners and listeners busy. So thanks very much. That's it for this week, folks. And again, remember that you'll be able to watch us on Facebook, and the video will be up any time during the week to have a little watch as well too. So for myself, Alan Finn, and Trish and Jer and everyone here in Boyles, we'll talk to you again next week. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Alan. Bye.